Hello friends, welcome to another video. This week I am sharing with you a time lapse of painting this alien botanist, and I wanted to talk a little bit about how my oil painting process is changing once again because it literally changed while working on this painting. So apologies in advance, you're going to see a lot of my head and hair obscure the camera. I still haven't figured out a great angle to work with, and I tend to kind of get up on my painting or drawings when I'm working. So again, I'm sorry. Alright, so oil paints. Loved for their luminous quality, ease of blending, and all-around sexiness. I gave up painting in oils quite some time ago and have been slowly coming back to it over the last few years, very sporadically. I don't even do it all that frequently, but I've been trying to do it more and more. And when I started this painting, I was using the exact same materials that I learned with. I didn't really learn that there were many other options. And if you're wondering what exactly that is, it's literally the oil paints and a solvent such as Gamsol. That was what we learned with, and that is what I actually liked to use. And a variety of different mediums, such as liquid and some others that is not really that important to the conversation at the moment. So as I was working on this, it dawned on me that every time I have used oils in recent memory, so this painting and several others, I have gotten terrible headaches. And this is even while working in areas that I'm trying to keep well ventilated. This room, I had the window open, I had a fan going, and it just was still killing me. I was having terrible headaches and not being able to work very long. Originally, I had the idea that this painting I would work in one sitting, a la prima, and just see if I could figure out a process that way, because I tend to work kind of slowly in a lot of layers. But I couldn't do it. I had to stop without having painted too long because of these headaches. I originally gave up oil painting because I thought that it was too toxic and not safe for the environment, and that is only half true. I've talked about it before, other artists have talked about it before. Actual oil paints are pretty safe to work with. It's when you start adding solvents and mediums that it gets a little dicey. There are, again, a few colors that are known toxins, like the lead-based paints or cadmiums, but you don't have to use those, or if you use them properly, then you don't have much to worry about. You should never eat any paint regardless of if that pigment is toxic or not. I should hope that goes without saying. But oil paints are basically just the ground up pigment and an oil carrier, and we use things called mediums to alter how the paint flows, the finish of it, transparency, and drying time. Solvents are used to thin your paint, speed up drying, and clean your brushes. But you don't have to necessarily use solvents. If you are an unlucky soul like myself and are very sensitive to the fumes that even Gamsol gives off, you might want to consider other options. So I did some research and I scoured the internet, all my art books, and various Google articles to find out what can I do that will not incur such disgusting headaches and nausea. In the past, artists used lavender spike oil way before we had these chemical concoctions such as turpentine, which is a huge no-no. Please don't use turpentine. It is very noxious, and a lot of painters of the past who used turpentine did get ill, whether or not it's attributed to that, but turpentine is just bad stuff. You could absolutely paint without any kind of solvent. You can paint straight out of tube. You can add just oil to change the consistency of it. Gamblin also makes a solvent-free gel medium that is quite nice as well. And to clean your brushes, there are actually a lot of options that I was never taught in school, which was hugely disappointing. I wish there was more information readily available about your options when you begin oil painting, whether you want a toxic-free environment, or you want to practice more of the old traditional ways. The wonderful YouTube artist Emily Mackey discussed on one of her videos how she stopped using solvents and actually just cleans her brushes in between every step when she changes colors, and then just uses the paint like straight out of tube. And what she does is she'll remove as much of the excess paint as possible first, and then she does a big jar of water and some of the master's brush cleaner, and she'll just clean it up really well and then move on to the next color. I thought that was pretty great. I also saw another artist who used Murphy's oil, which is a wood soap, to clean her brushes, and I have yet to try that, but I just got me a big bottle of the wood soap, so I'll see how it goes. And then on the more expensive end, there is the line called Chelsea's Classic. What is it called? Chelsea Classical Studio. And they have a full line of more traditional solvents and mediums. And the paint thinner that they have is a lavender spike oil, and it smells lovely. I really love lavender, so I am totally okay with my studio smelling hella lavender, but some people have complained, I read in reviews, that the smell was much too strong for them. And then they have a full line of other items as well. I picked up their citrus brush cleaner, which is actually really fabulous if you need to do some heavy duty cleaning on some brushes. I also liked the Tekkell brush cleaner as well, but I have run out of that, so I'm just looking for other options to have a variety of experience and suggestions for anyone at any budget, because I like to share that information with you and my students. So I'll see how those go. This painting, about midway through, I had to stop and I let it completely air dry while I waited for my shipment of the Chelsea Studio items. And I also ordered walnut oil and the walnut Galkid mix from M. Graham brand. And then I started to use just those items while working on this, and I quite liked them. I think the process didn't really change very much. I just had to consider drying times because these natural things do take a little longer to dry, but so far I am liking them. And the later half of the time I spent working on this painting, I was feeling much better, and that was the whole point. In a future video, I will show you some of those different mediums in action, and the natural and the not natural ones. The Gamblin ones that I like to use are petroleum derived, so I'm not thrilled about that as far as ecological impact, but they work really well, and I think if you use them responsibly, it is okay. I hope that you will find that information useful if you are curious or into oil painting already. And that's all for this week, guys. It is getting kind of rainy here, and I don't want there to be obnoxious background sounds going on, so I hope you found this information useful, and I look forward to sharing more with you as I really figure out my process with oils. Even though it was my first love in painting, I'm not nearly as comfortable in it as I am with acrylic now, because that's been my main medium for quite some time. Take care and happy creating.